Got up this morning to do a little bit of training for Pen-y-Fan. I lost my little boy Keegan in 2016. Tŷ Hafan. Without them, I don't know where I'd be. The help and support they've given us before and after is amazing, and it's just given a little something back to them, really. It's nice to be with people who know what you're going through, being with the Tŷ Hafan mums. It's being a bit closer to Keegan. I struggled with the grieving until doing this challenge, and I think it's all coming up now, and I think I'm starting to go through the emotions of the grief. It's 7 years on, but I think now it's starting to hit home, really. I'm mum, so you've got to carry on, really. I'd advise anyone to go and speak to someone and not deal with it on your own. Losing a child is like, your world stops, really. You're never going to have the same life again, and it is easier to just go into the blanket and just let the world go by. The challenge has shown me that I can do more as well, whereas before I'd give up before trying. Every day was a challenge with Keegan. There was always something new to get over, so I think a mountain should really be quite easy, but 3 in 1 day is definitely a challenge.
So my daughter's just turned 2 and she has a life-limiting condition. The first year of her life was really hard. She was very uncomfortable, very distressed. She just wasn't like other babies. I knew something was wrong. The not knowing and the constant cycle of hope, then devastation on repeat. She was such a roller coaster of emotions. So yeah, we were referred to the hospice for support. It was a real lifeline for us. We've had a couple of respite stays there. It's such a lovely, calm, serene place. And the staff there are lovely. And because she's so little, she loves giggling and smiling, and she responds really well to sound and to touch. The staff there are used to dealing with children like her, and they know how to communicate, and I learn from them. So when it's your own child, you feel like you should have that unbreakable bond, but actually when you've got a child that's different, you have to learn how to communicate with them. So obviously I'm at the start of my journey. My daughter's still tiny. Like, getting to know other mums is the best therapy that I've received, because you learn from them and nobody understands what you're going through as well as they do. Doing this challenge has just really amplified that. I think sometimes care and responsibilities can completely take over your life, and when we're going through a week where she's not sleeping, she's not eating, she's crying, and she's really, really distressed, and that does happen quite frequently. Sometimes it just doesn't feel sustainable. So when this challenge was suggested, I just jumped at the opportunity, and I'm so glad I did. It's been really, really good for my physical health and my mental health and my social life. I've never really broadcast Alana's condition because it's really hard news to give people. Sharing my story on my JustGiving page was quite therapeutic for me, because it just got it out there. It's all out in the open now. It was a way to do it.
As a parent, you obviously want to do your best for your child, and we had a 2-year-old daughter to worry about at that time as well. We've decided to go to Tŷ Hafan with Max. When you hear the word hospice, it's you don't really want to go there, but it's just nothing what we expected. We had a little apartment that we used as a family. We had the access to day-to-day care. You don't have to worry about anything else, just to spend the time together. It created lots of memories, and for that I just I can't forget that. I was breastfeed him, and then when he was no longer able to breastfeed, they taught me how to feed him through the NG tube, then how to change it if there wasn't a problem. And then when the time came and we knew that he was dying, then I was able to have Tŷ Hafan by our side to hold our hand through all this. It's just it made a huge difference, really. Because of that, I just feel like I want to give something back. So if that happens to someone else, another family like ours, I want to make sure that they have Tŷ Hafan by their side to help them, as they did help us. Even though Max died 7 years ago, we are still very much in touch with Tŷ Hafan, and it's through bereavement groups you meet other parents who lost their child as well. You can openly talk about the emotions you go through. When you lose a child, it's a feeling that it's never going to go away. It's always there, but you sort of adjust to the feeling how you live with this. And I always say this, that without Tŷ Hafan, I don't think I would be where I am today. When I want to, if I just give them a call, do you mind if I just go around? And you can go in a chapel, you can go in a gardens, have a walk around, and you have all those memories there which we created with Max when we spent our time there. You want to keep their memories going, and that's another thing like with Tŷ Hafan, that the people still work there who knew him, so you can talk to them about him. That's what you need as a bereaved parent, you know, like you want that memory.
He was 4 weeks old. We found out on a Monday that he had this condition and nobody knew whether he was going to live or die. On the Wednesday we found out he was deaf, and on the Friday we found out that he had a heart condition that would need open heart surgery. It was the deafness on the Wednesday that I found the hardest to deal with that week, because everything else I didn't understand at that point, but the fact that he had been through all the procedures he'd already been through, and I'd held his hand and reassured him, and he hadn't heard me tell him how much I loved him, and the thought that he hadn't heard me, and how would he know how much I loved him if he couldn't hear me tell him? So Tŷ Hafan doesn't just support Alfie, they support all of us. My boys are always invited to sibling groups. When we go there, they're treated like kings. They absolutely love going there. Every single part of the family is looked after. My husband's needs, and every one of us is thought about. When we go there, I can't just be mum. It could have ripped us apart, or it could have brought us together. Alfie was born, everything stopped. And when things start again and you come into some kind of what your new normal is, then everything moves slower. Had to move slower. Alfie's pace is much slower than anybody else's pace. And when you start to move slowly, then you start to notice more around you. My child didn't smile till he was 18 months old, and it was the best thing. He still very rarely smiles. We know he's happy. We know he's enjoying life because he shows us in other ways. And as long as he knows how much we love him, as long as he knows, however long we've got him for, that he is loved, and you know what I mean? Yeah. It's also for me a personal challenge, though, to prove to myself that I can do this. Just under 2 years ago, I was so unfit I couldn't even climb the stairs. I'm Marie and I'm a person. I'm not just a mum, I'm not just a carer. There's been a lot of stress and sadness that goes along with caring for a child with a life-limited condition. Everybody's got a different story. We tend to face mountains every day. This is an actual mountain, but it symbolises the virtual mountain that we climb every day, we face every day. We have to be mentally strong to be the kind of parents we are, and I think, yeah, it's the mental strength that's going to get us up the mountains, not so much the physical strength. Our life is so out of our control. You know, some of us have already lost our children. All of our children have got some kind of life-limiting condition, and it's that not knowing. It's just about enjoying every day, and this challenge is in my control, and I am going to get to the top of all three of those and back down again. Being part of a team, feeling like we can do something for ourselves while supporting a hospice that's supported every one of us through a totally different journey. And yeah, ultimately our journeys are totally different, but we're going to the same place. We're getting to the top of that mountain together.